Welcome. Friday, Feedback Friday. So, if you're watching and you haven't submitted the track yet, go to the Discord and submit your track in the channel for the live stream feedback submissions, and we will listen to your music. I will drop the link to the Discord in the chat. Prozac, that's fine. You can either listen or just watch the feedback later. Doesn't really matter. It's all good. It's all good, no problem. We have a couple of tunes right now, so we'll see how many we get. If we do make it to the end of all the tunes, then I might ask you guys if you have something else that you want to send in. We'll see. I started a little later, so maybe some people, just went off to do some other stuff and are not going to be here today, which is fine. My pizza delivery guy took a long time, so I was waiting for the fucker, and I was like, dude, hurry up, mate, I need to stream. But he took his fine time. Maltese Falcon says he released a full collab album today. It was fun collabing. That's nice. Who did you collab with? Okay, no new tunes yet. That's fine. Let's that. I know. I was just setting up. Is this all? Why are you there? Go there. That is fine. Okay. Yo, Angelite, did you submit something already? He didn't. Okay, cool. Still no drum and bass by you, Angelite, huh? Still waiting. You have nothing. That's fine. Didn't you mess about with some drum and bass to try it out? I guess it didn't work. I mean, you could submit Middle Eastern music. I don't mind. Wouldn't maybe be the best for me giving feedback, but hey, we could listen to it. But if it's for a client, I assume that that's not an option. So that's fine. I get it. I've also been busy with a lot of stuff, but let's just start with the first track, and we'll see how far we go. I feel you, Angelite. I feel you. I've honestly really been tired with making drum and bass lately as well, so I've just been doing other stuff. I've been making a bunch of cinematic things. Yesterday I made some ambient music. I've been doing some more techno things over the last week. I really haven't made any drum and bass over the last week, to be quite honest. But for me, I guess it's a different reason. You know, I've just been doing drum and bass things for like week in, week out, so I'm kind of changing things up a little bit. You know, need to get some other creative things out other than drum and bass, just to kind of, I guess, reset a little bit. And in a way, it can sometimes also be good to take a break from something, you know? Because then when you come back to it, it's like a bit more fresh, a bit more, you know, fun again. Man, I tried, but then I heard Noisia Cinco and decided that I'm shit. I mean, that's a good tune, though. Yeah, I totally get you. It's a nice tune. The last thing I worked on drum and bass wise was a track that was a little bit kind of like a bit of a weird tune actually, not like your traditional sort of like structure kind of thing. A bit like what is the tune by Noisia? The Hole, which has like this really weird sort of like structure. First of all, it's a weird time signature, which mine wasn't, but it has this weird sort of like arrangement where it isn't like your traditional sort of like build. It's like this really long, slow, progressing track, and then the drop, if it even is a drop, it's kind of like just, oh, here's the drums with like some bass under it, and it just kind of comes. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but just it's not your traditional sort of like let's build up and then here's a drop. You know, it's kind of like it flows into the drop and then it kind of progresses from there, which is kind of cool. Um, Maybe a little bit less dance floor suited, but still kind of a really interesting take. And I was working on something similar to that, but then I got completely tired of it, and I was like, yo, I need to do something else. And like honestly, I've been really enjoying hard techno lately. Like absolutely enjoying it, listening to a lot of sets, and it kind of feels good because a lot of it is stuff that I've never heard before, right? So, and also when I try and make some stuff like that, it's like it's something that I've never done before, so I am not too sort of like bound to certain things. If you get what I mean? It's like when I make drum and bass, there's all these things that you have in your mind of like what it should sound like, what it should be like, and with like genres that I've never made before, if I try it out, it's more like closer to when you first started making music, you know, when you don't know shit and you just do whatever you want to do or what you think sounds good. So maybe that's kind of nice for a change. The unexpected drop hit so hard though. Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's like it's not really an expected drop, but when it then hits, it kind of is like, oh damn, this is sick, you know? I don't really mess with microtuning at all, honestly. I do like messing with weird time signatures, you know? Like I made some drums a while ago, some stuff in like 6/8. I did some drum loops in like what 7/8 or 7/4, I believe it was. I do really like doing that, like taking a weird sort of like time signature, other than 4/4, obviously, which already kind of makes it weird if you're really used to 4/4, and then trying to make a drum pattern that kind of fits that, and so like still sounds like it's a good loop, right? Something that sounds like it's just a nice loop, and especially with like, I feel like anything based on four, so like 7/4, 5/4, something like that, is easier because you're just gonna count the beats, right? You're just sort of like you can kind of still dance to it in the same way as you would to 4/4 because you're just gonna dance to every beat. But when it's like something like 7/8 or something, things get pretty interesting. But yeah, microtuning is not for me, honestly. I can appreciate it, but to actually do it myself, I don't know. 6/7 time signature, that would be completely impossible. There is no 7. The bottom number in time signature tells you what kind of note it is, and there is no 7 notes. It's always 1 and then multiples of 2. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Ah, I guess I just showed my age then. I don't get the whole 6/7 thing. So maybe that's my millennial brain, you know? Yeah. Official unk status. That's what the little kids say these days, right? Anyways, let's stop yapping. Let's listen to the first track and see what we get. Oh, I was about to say, like, why is this not working? But there we go. Cool. I actually really enjoyed that. There were a couple of things. You had that one little, what was it? That kind of lasery sound. Where was it? Here? No. Somewhere in here. That sound. I don't really like that sound. I think it takes away from the track. Sounds a little odd, honestly. I would maybe try something else than that sound. You could still use the same kind of pattern, just like something different. The one other thing, I think, where was it? I think right here. This transition, I would do a little different. It's a bit loud, yeah, true, but I just also don't like the sound of it, of that sound. I don't think it fits too well. I would just try something else. But I think it was this transition where I would do like a little edit before it goes into here. Yeah, I would like probably do like something right in this gap, you know? Let's see, do we have something? I don't know. Let's just grab this part and chuck it right here. See something there? Just so it sort of like breaks up that pattern a little bit and kind of prepares you for the fact that there's something that's gonna change. Also, I don't think there's a kick there, right? No, it looks like it's just a hat, which kind of works, but maybe you could cut out all the drums during this first beat then, and so like just have the synth come in and then have the drums come in here on the clap, or just, you know, use a kick at the first beat. But I do kind of like the idea of maybe waiting with the drums until either here or maybe even later. Maybe on the fourth beat or something. I do really like the intro as well, by the way. Synths are really nice here. I don't mind the transition from here into the first drop, actually. Could maybe... could maybe cut out, you know, a lot of the rolling kick in the last beat before this hits. Just cut out that rolling kick and maybe have like one element of the pads or something still there, so it kind of gives it a little separation. But I don't really mind it, to be honest, but that could be cool. Yeah, the synths in the intro are really nice. They do have a bit of an 80s kind of vibe, which sounds really, really cool. Yo, Decode. Yeah, the first basses in the drop here are really cool. I really enjoyed those. We do lose a lot of the clap in mono, so it kind of in mono the clap feels a little buried in the mix, which is something I would maybe try and fix. It's not that big of a change actually. I thought it was more, but it does maybe could come through a little bit more than what it's currently doing. Like maybe even just taking the mid channel and just adding some high end there, so that it still has the same amount of high end in mono as opposed to stereo, because I do feel like we're losing a bit of the high end when we sum it to mono, which can be pretty easily fixed. You know, just take like an EQ, just make a little point, make it stereo placement mids, and just boost a bit of the snare in the mid channel. So it doesn't really change the stereo, but it just sort of like adds a little bit more of that in the mids. That's all you would have to do, really. Like, I don't mind the width on the clap, so I would definitely keep that, but just a little bit more there in the mid channel. Anyways, good tune though. Nice one to start off with today. Let's move on to the next one. I'm Going Insane. And no, not me. I guess Maltese Falcon is going insane. Do we have any new tracks? No, we have not. Cool. No, you're not going insane? Okay, cool. What can we say about that one? I mean, it's kind of a cool vibe, but I feel like the kick drum is a little bit hard to hear in the main section. But that could be what you're going for. I like it, but it almost sounds like an intro that then morphs into an outro and skips the drops. True, but maybe there is not necessarily supposed to be a drop. You know? I do think that it would be nice if the kick came through a little bit more, you know? Not entirely sure where it comes in, but... Oh yeah, here. See how... Like, the kick is there. I can see it. I can slightly hear it as well, but... Like, a lot of these areas, it's really hard to hear that kick, even though it is kind of the driving factor of the whole tune, or at least it probably should be, you know? So, you know, just trying to and like you can maybe create like some little bit of a pumping effect with sidechain to that kick, which could be nice as well for this kind of, I guess, up the energy a little bit that way. But the vibe itself is cool. A little bit easier to hear when I boost it here. But yeah, I would probably try and bring that more up front. And then, like I said, probably sidechain some of the musical elements to the kick so that it creates a bit of a pumping effect. And it also would, I guess, would make it a little bit more like a drop that way. I guess drop is not even the right word, you know? Because it's not necessarily like a drop, if you get what I mean. I guess more like the main section, right? Yeah, climax is probably the better word, exactly. And it is pretty white, but it stays nicely above the 0 line here on the stereo meter, which is good. Like, it goes below it here a little bit, but that's fine. It's nothing too major. Like, it going below the 0 line here in this area is kind of understandable because you're using a lot of like reverb and like pads, elements and stuff like that, which tend to be a lot wider, and you'll usually see that happening. But during the main section, it stays like nicely above it, so that's good. Also, I wouldn't necessarily be too concerned about the stereo with something like this, because it's not really supposed to be something that's played on a dance floor, you know? So well, Greedo, that's also why I say the whole thing with like making the kick come through more, and then using sidechaining to maybe create like a pumping effect between the musical elements and the kick, because that would kind of create a bit more of that feeling of having it being like a more danceable tune, you know? Not that it has to be, but I think it would be a cool effect as well, and kind of separate the main section where the kick sits from the rest of the tune. And like a lot of reverb is fine. Like, can be a stylistic choice to do that, you know? And I don't necessarily mind that. Like, listen, I sometimes listen to a lot of like dark ambient music and stuff like that, and those people absolutely abuse reverb. So and it's they kind of use the reverb as a sound design tool, you know? And it works. Like for some genres that is perfectly fine. Is it okay to submit a Dropbox link? Yeah, it is, as long as I can download it. So I can put the audio file in my DAW and see like the analyzers and stuff. Oh, we got 2 more tunes. It's really weird. Like the submissions that are submitted through Discord itself, that I need to download from the servers of Discord, it actually downloads quick when I'm not streaming, but as soon as I start to stream, the downloads from Discord itself go a lot slower, which is really weird, really strange. I don't know why. Anyways, let me grab those tunes. Nice, we'll have a bunch more now to listen to. See, that's the Dropbox one. How do I download from Dropbox again? File, download. Really? I need to fucking sign in? Oh wait, continue with download only. Ah, nice. My Dropbox isn't signed in. I honestly don't really use Dropbox all that much anymore these days. But it's good. Let's see. We had the next. Now let me check the order. Okay. So this one is next after that. Then we get this one. Then we get this one. Right? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, like the synth stuff is really nice. It's really beautiful. I kind of like how even in like the analyzers, I can see that I'm kind of wondering how you made some of the sounds, because I can kind of see that they're not sort of like, well, they have a lot of texture to them, which is cool. Sometimes when you make sounds, especially with synths, you'll just really see that every frequency is like really clean, you know, and it's just like sitting there. You can clearly see it everywhere, but that's not the case here. It's kind of like it could be a result of a lot of the processing, but it's just, see, there's a lot of texture everywhere, which is kind of cool. Yeah, definitely when that kick comes in and the percussion comes in, or like the hi-hat percussion, I guess, that's where you want to maybe do a little switch so that it kind of separates that section from what happens in front of it. Also nice, you're making a little circular, weird like shape on the stereo meter. No, I got it, Ozzy. I got it. Cool, nice one. I definitely can say that your stuff has improved already from like the earlier submissions that you send in Melty's Falcon, so that's always cool to see. This one looks interesting. Looks maybe a bit empty, but I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. I guess the rhythmic elements sparked my drop expectation. Yeah, maybe. I don't always like I said, I listen to a lot of music that doesn't have drops as well, like dark ambient and stuff, which it sometimes doesn't even have drums, you know? It's just ambient, which so I don't mind that, you know? Not all music is supposed to be for a dance floor, you know? Like some music that I'll listen to is just I have whole playlists on YouTube that are, well, private playlists, but that I'll just use for when I'm like, I don't know, playing a game or like doing something else, you know, doing some photo editing or stuff like that. And I'll just have like music that is like more easy to listen to than like full on drum and bass or something. And everything has its place, you know? Cool. Let's go to this one. Who's the artist? Is it Heroes of Tomorrow or Aftermath Audio? I guess Aftermath Audio is the artist name. Vision 4X looks wild. It's a really good analyzer, honestly. I just wish that they updated it, because I mean, this track, it's not really easy to see, but if we go to Carter's track, Carter, whatever. Let me also, let's check, what are we on? Let's do that, maybe. See how the bass becomes this really wide blob? Like, it's really annoying. Whereas it's definitely possible to have that more narrow. Like if we look at millimeters, look how nicely it looks here. It's like a really narrow line even in the bass frequencies, which I wish that they would update the plugin with an algorithm similar to that. See, here in millimeters you can just see it really nicely. And even if I guess we have plugins of millimeters as well, right here. What is that? The spectrogram, right? I think it's a spectrogram. Then it should open up a little bit bigger here. Like, see how it's a nice narrow line? Versus the absolutely wide blob of sound here. So I really wish that they would update the algorithm, because it's clearly possible. But other than that, it's a really nice plugin. It definitely allows you to see really well what is going on. Definitely a good purchase. It's one of my go-to analyzers these days. Yeah, I think I saw that video actually a while ago, but yeah, it's one of those, you know, things that I don't like about it. And they already have like there's several modes here and algorithms, but I don't even think switching to harmonic is gonna change that. Oh, a little bit actually. When you switch it to harmonic, it does get a little bit narrower, but it's still much wider compared to like millimeters and how that does it. On transient, it becomes even worse. So yeah, it's just the only thing that I really don't like about it, but I do like a lot of the other things in here that are definitely good. And still, I do like this spectrogram. It's just I wish that that was a little better, you know? Yeah, like I said, it does work with the added FFT, increased FFT size, but it also kind of messes up other things, you know? That's the thing. Like, if we set it to harmonic, it does make that easier to see. But, like, I believe transient heavy elements are then a little harder to see again. Yeah. See, like kick drums and such kind of become even tougher to see. So it's kind of you know, you're sacrificing transient information in the spectrogram. Those kind of look a lot more smeared out, but it kind of makes the bass easier to see, which is kind of what I don't like about it, because in millimeters, you can clearly see the bass frequency as like a narrow thin line, but the transient information is also clearly visible. So it's definitely possible to do it like that. I don't know how millimeters does it. Like I don't know what their what the algorithm is that they that he implemented with it, but cool. Let's move on. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we're gonna go more cinematic on this one. Sounds like it. That would also explain it looking a bit more sparse in terms of the waveform. I do like the vibe so far. Yeah, it's nice. It's just, yeah, I agree with what Chad is saying. It wants to be fully, or at least like more, um, like the mix needs to feel fuller. It doesn't necessarily need more elements in some of these sections, but it just needs to be, I guess, like some of the elements here, like the brass, can be a bit more, I don't know, just have a bit more weight to it. But also in this area, like I feel like the string elements, if there, I think there are some. Yeah. Or the synth elements can be a bit more upfront as well, and just everything in general just needs to feel fuller, which I guess maybe a little bit more compressed. And then some of these sections here, I think that you're doing this because you want to have like, you know, the option of making cuts here and there, but like my ear just really would like it when there's like more of a reverb tail in this section, you know, because it kind of decays really quickly and then decays all the way to silence. And I personally, for like just listening to it right now, I don't enjoy that too much. I would like it if there was more of like a lingering reverb tail that then goes into here, you know. But I get it. If it's like something that you want the possibility of cutting it up at sections to kind of, you know, like use it for like trailers or whatever, then that makes sense. And the same thing here, you know, it's like, I mean, this one isn't even that bad, actually. This one isn't even that bad. Yeah, it's like, if you like with trailer music, you know, sometimes they'll cut the music up, right, to put like a scene there before the next section of the music comes in, and then you do need those bits of silence. But I personally, when I'm just listening to it right now, it kind of takes away from the listening pleasure if there are these gaps of silence. Like it doesn't, for just listening to it right now, I would prefer it to just go really soft and not go to complete silence, if that makes sense, you know? But yeah, that kind of depends on what the purpose is of it as well. Now, one thing I don't like, though, one thing that I really would change is the... let's see. There are these gun sounds happening, right? And I don't mind them every once in a while. Let's see. I think this is one. Yeah, like that one I don't mind. That one I don't mind. But then in this section, it kind of gets used again, and in sections where I probably wouldn't, like that's the thing, those kind of sounds are cool, but I wouldn't overuse them, you know? Like that one, for instance. Like that one I probably would take out. Like in front of like such a big sort of like hit, I guess it's fine, but like halfway through these sections, I wouldn't use them. Like, same here. Like, it's really one of those elements that you want to use very sparsely and every once in a while, if even at all, you know, like, kind of also depends on what the trailer music is for, right? Like, if it's for a movie that has like that, well, I guess features guns or whatever, then it makes sense. But it's also sometimes maybe an element that can be a little bit overused, you know? It's maybe a bit cliche in trailer music. Like that one I don't mind. That one is fine. That one I just would get rid of. And that one as well, probably. And here, I actually think in this section, my ear is hearing like some additional strings coming in. Doing like a little motif or something, just building up how full it sounds, I guess. Suzume. I've actually seen that one. Pretty good movie, actually. Honestly, like a lot of his works are pretty cool, but the one little tangent, but the one issue I do have, well, what was his name again? Mokoto or Motoko something? What was it? Shinkai? I don't know. I will always forget his name. He makes great movies and they look absolutely amazing, but they do tend to have a very similar sort of like story to them. If you've seen one of them, then story-wise, like a lot of them are kind of similar. Sure, he changes the context a little bit, and so like the way, you know, like the story goes, but overall, like the overarching sort of like storyline is kind of similar in almost all of his movies. You know? Makoto Shinkai, that was it. Yeah, exactly. Fun fact, I noticed this today. Like we were talking in the Discord about cyberpunk and like anime as well. And I brought, you know, forward like, you know, Ghost in the Shell, and we were looking at it. And I was looking at Ghost in the Shell today, and I saw that there's going to be a new Ghost in the Shell this year, a new TV series. It's coming out in July, and I absolutely love Ghost in the Shell. It's my probably after Akira my favorite anime. Although Ghost in the Shell is a bit flawed, you know, like the original movie is absolutely goated. Like the 1995 movie is absolutely amazing. Then they did the whole Ghost in the Shell 2. Absolutely horrible, you know? Like, basically just a CGI mess. And don't watch it, you know? It's not worth watching. And then they did the Ghost in the Shell Innocence movie, which has its flaws, but is still really good, in my opinion. And then, of course, there's like the TV series, which are kind of cool, but they have, you know, they're not as good as the movies are. But Standalone Complex, for instance, is a good series, but none of them really follow like the manga. I have the manga myself, and the manga has a completely different vibe to the animes, especially to the movies, but also to the TV series. And from what I see in the trailer, which is kind of limited, honestly, like it's a very short trailer, but just from the art style of the trailer, first of all, it looks like they try and sort of like keep it a little bit more like the original like 80s anime kind of stuff, like 80s 90s anime era. Especially the backgrounds look very very much like that. Although it's of course like it's really high resolution stuff like most stuff is today. But what I also noticed is a lot of the characters, they kind of look exactly like what they look in the original manga. So I really hope that this year's Ghost in the Shell series is going to stay true to the manga. Although I do wonder how much of the humor of the manga will be implemented, because the original Ghost in the Shell manga had like a lot more humor in it than the movies did. The movies, especially the first movie and the Innocence movie, have a much darker sort of like tone to it, that isn't present in the manga at all. Actually, maybe a little bit, but not really that much. So I'm kind of interested to see where it's gonna go, and I do hope they stay true to the manga a little bit. Could be cool. On what service company? Actually, I don't know who is producing it. I didn't look at that. Let's see. Ghost in the Shell 2026. Ghost in the Shell 2026 TV series. Produced by Science Saru. Okay. So it is a different studio as well than the other things. It's not a studio that has worked on Ghost in Shell before, right? There we go. We got a list of what they've done. Oh, Devilman Crybaby. They did ping pong? Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. Like, I'm kind of curious though. I'm definitely excited for there being another addition to the Ghost in the Shell franchise. You know, it's one of my favorites over the years. Um, Although, like I said, not all of it is good. Um, but yeah, interesting. Based on the 1989. Okay, so they do say on the Wikipedia page that it's based on the manga, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will follow the manga. You know, like in theory, the whole franchise is based on the manga, right? So that doesn't really mean anything. Um, Production IG is also involved. I mean, that's a well-known studio, so yeah, kind of hoping it's gonna be good though. Like, I hope that they do it justice. Neuromancer is gonna be sick. Is that gonna be a movie or live action movie? I mean, I have the books, the original Neuromancer trilogy, and I read that, and it's a really amazing trilogy. William Gibson is a really good writer. Not for everyone though. Like, when you read like reviews of it, like some people just don't like it because he makes a lot of like these references to like, like brands that he has made up, or like even like real brands, or like he uses a lot of like, words that not everybody might know, because they're like these words that are so like, how to describe it, like, I guess within the cyberpunk kind of sphere, if you're into that, then you're probably gonna understand it. But like some people that are not, that are just coming into it fresh, like without any prior knowledge, they might be just thinking about like, what the fuck is that word even, like, a lot of the terms that he used for things, yeah, some people will probably get annoyed with that, but as like somebody who absolutely loves that kind of, like the whole cyberpunk and like that kind of aesthetic, like yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really nice. I always do get a bit fearful though when I hear live action adaptation, but I guess you guys probably are with me on that. Um, I'm so happy that the Akira live action never came to be. I'm sorry, but like when I heard that this thing was announced like what, more than a decade ago, I believe at this point, maybe even 15 years ago, and it went through this so many phases of news coming out. Like first it was Leonardo DiCaprio, which was gonna play the leading role, and then there were like other actors and stuff. And every time I thought like, please, just let him not do it. Like Akira is great as it is. Don't you don't need to touch it. It's amazing. It's such an influential piece of work, and it's fine the way it is. Don't touch it, please. But now from what I know, it's not gonna happen. I think there was like news about a half a year ago that it basically got completely cancelled and it's not happening. So I was like, phew, thank God, they're not gonna destroy that. Like even the like even the Ghost in the Shell live action, while it's good on its own as a movie, I still wish that it wasn't a thing in sort of like terms of like the larger franchise, you know? As its own standalone movie, if you've never seen any of Ghost in the Shell, it's fine. You're probably gonna enjoy it. But as somebody who's seen Ghost in the Shell and absolutely loves it and seen it like countless of times, eh, it's a bit of like a Hollywood adaptation, if you get what I mean. Like they're kind of dumbing it down and sort of like, especially the ending. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's kind of all just a bit more dumbed down and like catered to American Hollywood audiences, whereas the original anime just is a lot deeper and darker in terms of its subject matter and how they talk about it. And I was kind of missing that. It just feels like an okay movie, right? And that's the case with a lot of these things. It's easy to not do it justice, especially when the original work is such a highly acclaimed piece of work. Like that's also why when I heard the first thing about like there being a potential live action version of Akira, I was like, oh fuck no, please don't. Like Akira is such an insanely highly acclaimed piece of work. It's been such an influential piece of animation. In my opinion, maybe even the best animation that has ever been made. Maybe you shouldn't touch that. Artifacts anime channel? No, probably not. Like, don't get your hopes up. I have a pretty. I have seen a lot of anime over the years, but I have a pretty picky taste when it comes to anime. Like, there's a lot of anime that I would never be able to get into. Yo, Belgische Reef. I'll get to the Discord in just a bit. My headphones are the Beyerdynamics DT900 Pro X. Naruto live action. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen Naruto. I've seen Naruto Shippuden, but after that, I kind of stopped. Um, it's one of those shows that it's good, it's all right, but we talked about this earlier in the Discord about the top 3 or top 5 anime in your opinion. And for me, like I talked about it in Discord. I said like there's so many anime that are good, but I would not put them in my top 5. You know, the ones that make it to my top 5 are, they have to be something that has actually stuck with me, that has sort of like influenced my interest in, I guess, art, in a way. And a lot of them don't do that. Like, let's say Dragon Ball Z. Like, I've seen most of the episodes probably 5 to 10 times growing up, but I wouldn't put it in my top 5. You know, because it's hugely flawed. The original Dragon Ball, sure, that might make it into the 5th spot or something. But Dragon Ball Z, like, it's kind of flawed. Like, sure, it has a big nostalgic sort of like value to me, because when I grew up, when I was a little kid, it was being aired on TV, and I was sitting in front of the TV to watch it every day after school. But like, when you look back at it now, it's like a lot of it is kind of dragged out, and the pacing is really fucked, and like there's a lot of filler episodes because they were catching up with the manga too fast, and they had to fill it up so that the manga could, you know, put out some more volumes, because otherwise they would have nothing to make the anime about. So it's like there's a lot of flaws in it. Perfect Blue is amazing. Perfect Blue is really good. Ghibli is amazing, animation-wise, but I wouldn't necessarily put any of them in my top 5. Like, the animation is amazing, don't get me wrong, and they're definitely worthy of being in someone's top anime list, in someone's top 5, depending on what kind of anime you're into. Like Princess Mononoke and stuff is amazing. Spirited Away is really good. That one might sort of like maybe be still top 5 worthy for me, but there's so many actually, and when I think about like which ones definitely left a lasting impression, the Ghibli stuff isn't necessarily doing that for me. Not gonna say that it's not a good anime though, because it absolutely is. But for me, I guess, yeah, definitely Akira, Ghost in the Shell definitely have their place. And then I always come back to Serial Experiments Lane. Maybe not the best anime, you know, but it's still something that I would put on my list, because it's something that I don't know what there is about it, but it's just, it has always been one of those that left a bit of an impression on me. It's not even one of the most so like popular ones out there, but it's just a really, really good one in my opinion, if you're into that kind of stuff. But then there's other ones that I really, really liked that are probably maybe a bit out there. What was it again? I didn't put that in the Discord when we talked about this, but Shiguri is like one that I also come back to every once in a while, which is a completely different genre. It's more like a samurai kind of thing. But man, it's such a good anime. Definitely a bit more serious as well. It's not like your happy anime with like humor and like funny bits. But yeah, there's so much stuff out there that is good. I really hope though that the Ghost in the Shell one from this year is going to be nice. It's going to come out in July, I think. So, let's see. Yeah, we're going to get into the next tune. Enough anime talk. Like when I get to my like, I always forget so many ones that I've seen. You know, I'll be like, oh, these ones are good. I would maybe put that on my top 5, and then when I actually look at the list of what I've seen, I'll be like, wait a second, that one and that one, and that one, and that one, and then by the end of it, I'm like, fuck. Now, which ones are actually the best? The Ghost in the Shell one, I don't know where it's gonna be released for Western audiences, honestly. It's gonna be on Japanese television, but I don't know if it's gonna be released for Western audiences or when or where. I would assume so though, because it's a big franchise overseas, but I haven't really seen anything about that yet, so we'll have to see. Okay. You can really throw a lullaby at us? Definitely has too much high end. Like the high end is ear-piercingly loud, and that's something you really want to be careful with. Ow? I'm sorry, but could you make that sound quieter, please? I even don't even want to play it again. That sound was way too fucking loud. Yeah, let's skip to here. Wake up. Like, that's nice though. What? Yeah, so mainly the high end is just way too loud. You can kind of see it in the waveform as well. Like in millimeters here, the different colors correspond to different frequency ranges. So anything that's high end and like mid range is gonna be so like showing up as white here for me, and then the low end is like a bit more orange color, right? I believe the mid range is actually purple and the high end is white. I always forget. I don't think we can see it actually here. No, we can see that here, but like there. See how it's a lot of white. I guess the low end here is kind of still visible, but it's you see a lot of white color there in the waveform, which means that there's just too much high end. And you can kind of see it on my EQ shape as well. I just brought down that quite a bit. Now about the whole lullaby thing or whatever it is, like in the Netherlands, this melody is from a children's song. Rito already named it. I think it's a thing in every Western culture, but it might have varying names and varying subjects depending on the country. It's the thing with a lot of those children's songs, right? They're used a lot in different countries. They have different story or different sort of like text to it, but the melodies are kind of similar. Altijd is kort jakje ziek. Yeah, exactly. That's the Dutch one. I'm not sure if it fits. I'm sorry. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Yeah, that's another version of it. Like, I'm not sure I like it with the heavier drops. Also, drop maybe just comes completely out of nowhere, but hey, that's a different story. But like what I mean with the whole thing is like the intro part doesn't necessarily feel like it has anything to do with the drop. You know? Mind you, this will be the last tune of an EP, so you do have already 5 tracks before it that go hard. Okay, cool. But still, like, I'm so, like, listening to it as this particular tune, right? And this section doesn't really feel like it has anything to do with this. It kind of feels like there's 2 things that are just combined together for the sake of it, you know, being together, but they don't really have anything to do with each other, at least from what it feels like. Which, to me, is always something that I don't enjoy too much, but yeah, I guess that all depends on what you want to do. The high end is actually a lot cleaner when we sum it to mono. Did you notice that? When we sum it to mono, the high end is actually a lot cleaner. So maybe just a bit too much high end in the sides as well. Although I do think overall it just needs, like, taming in the high frequencies because it's a bit much. Yeah, I do agree. I like the minor version here, but it still doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the rest of the track, you know? I forgot. Fucking hell. That sound... Jesus Christ, mate. Just make that quieter, please. I do like this drop though. choir could maybe be a bit more, how do I say that? Well, what I like to do with choirs like these, especially in like electronic music, is add a little bit of OTT to them so that they have a bit of a brighter tone, which might work well if you tame down the rest of the high end, by the way. That bell sound is just fucking annoying, mate. That's just... If that sound would come in on a tune that I was listening to, I would immediately just jump to whatever tab I'm playing the music in and jump to the next tune. Just skip it, because fucking hell, mate. I don't fancy having more ear damage than I already do. So... And that's the same thing with the high end, you know, like... So yeah, that's my main take on this. Maybe add that lullaby minor version in the drop for like a bar or a half bar every now and then. Could work, but... I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the whole lullaby kind of thing to begin with. So for me, I would be completely fine with it being something else and not even have that in the entire tune. But that's me, maybe. Drop-bys is cool though. Some of the more jungly break parts are kind of nice. But even on those, like, you can hear that the high end is just completely destroyed and squashed. So it's like, especially the jungle breaks that have like a lot of cymbals in them, because the high end is already so fucking full. Those kind of sound even more dirty than what they already would be. You know, like jungle breaks usually are pretty dirty, but because the high end is so piercing in this, it just kind of makes it hard to listen to. So yeah, definitely work on that though. Next one. This is the one by Prozac. I remember that. He's not here, but Prozac, if you're listening, it's time for your tune. Ah, that's the mosquito. That's the one that I accidentally played during my stream intro, and I was downloading the tune, and when I open up any SoundCloud link, SoundCloud is so annoying that it has the autoplay thing, and you cannot turn it off. So when I'm doing the stream intro and I'm trying to download a track from SoundCloud, I click the link, and then I have to sort of like sit on the play pause button and just click pause before it actually makes any sound, otherwise it bleeds through into the stream intro, and that accidentally happened, so... It will stay a lullaby because the track is made to be a nightmare. Okay, cool, I get that. But you could do a different melody than that lullaby, and still get that same vibe. Like, make anything with like a music box kind of sound, and it will immediately give you that same kind of vibe as well. And you can make your own melody with that. It doesn't have to be that, you know. To me, I don't really enjoy the whole lullaby thing. I think it takes away from the rest of the track, honestly. Plus, it also has nothing to do with the rest of the track. So yeah, that for me is kind of you know. I would try and make some, and especially if you have like your own kind of melody thing, and bring it back in the drop for like, or maybe at the end of the drop or something like that to kind of bridge the sections together. And make it so that they kind of still have something to do with each other. That to me would always be better than what it currently is doing. Anyways though, still good tune.
Missing you. Missing you. Missing you. Missing you. Missing you. Missing you. Missing you.
The vocal work is really good on this one, actually. Interesting bass progression there. I actually really like that, even though it's using sort of like a bunch of like sounds that are very reminiscent of like dance floor drum and bass, which is the kind of drum and bass subgenre that I almost never listen to. But it's done in a pretty original and interesting way. So yeah, I like that. There was one thing I would change though. I think the kick is a bit too, what is the right word? A bit too boomy? No, a bit too dirty for what it wants to be. I think a really clean, sort of like synth kick would be really nice for this.
Missing you. Missing you.
Yeah, I think the kick is a bit too dirty for what this track is. I don't mind the use of the vocal. I think it's done pretty interestingly. Interestingly, is that a word? Well, now it is. Yeah, I don't mind it. I actually kind of like it. Maybe just fade the tail a little. Maybe, but no. I would actually opt for a different kick, one that is more. What is the right word though? Like clicky. Like no, just like a really clean synthesized kick. You know, not too dirty. Just a really clean sine sweep. Just not too long as well. No, I don't mind the vocal because it's sort of like changing it up throughout. It's not like doing the same thing the entire time. It just kind of changes up the whole chops and like the different things that it's doing with it. So that's why I don't really mind it. I think it kind of fits. And the synths in here are really nice. But yeah, like in this section, for instance, where the kick gets a bit more dense, you know, in terms of the arrangement, it really becomes apparent that that really dirty kick is just too much for this. And I think with a bit more of a clean, just lighter kick, it would actually work really well. I would almost say just go for like a kick that is literally just a sine wave with a pitch envelope on it. And that's it. Like maybe a bit of a transient element to give it like a little click at the start, but don't overdo it with the kick. Because this kind of track doesn't necessarily need a kick that is really dirty. Which this one has a lot of upper harmonics. It can be more, of course, it can get way dirtier than this, but it still has a lot of upper harmonics versus what it needs to, in my opinion. Like, we are getting nitpicky here though, because like overall the tune is really good. I would almost say that everything except the drums can be a little louder. Like, there's quite a lot of dynamics in it. And the drums, and that's maybe also why the drums feel too much right now, is because the drums are really compressed. Like, you can see it as well here, right? The drums are really compressed, but then everything else has a lot of dynamics. Like, it's sitting a couple of decibels quieter, like what, 5 decibels quieter almost? So it's like, that balance feels a little off maybe. And I'm fine with the dynamics, but then the drums would want to be a little bit less sort of like compressed and dirty as what they are right now. Missing you. Yeah, it's a really nice track though. Really enjoyed it. The halftime sections are really nice. I actually really enjoy those. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, I think that's the main thing for me is that because the track is fairly dynamic and the drums are so super compressed, that kind of takes away a little bit for me of the track. And I would hope, I would wish that the drums are a bit more, like the drums could be more dynamic as well and a bit cleaner, because the track definitely has lent itself for it. That's the only real issue that I have with it. I bet some labels could be interested in this track. Yeah, I do think as well. Like I wouldn't know which one out of the top of my head, but yeah, definitely. It sounds like a really nice tune. So good job, Prozac. This note repetition of the Vox is the only thing that bothers me a little bit. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't really mind it, but I could see why somebody would. Yeah. So that's fair. Let's see. We have another one in the Discord. But the downloads are not turned on. Read the instructions, please. Goated Rollers District. What a fucking name, by the way. You haven't turned on the download, so I cannot download the track from SoundCloud, meaning I cannot put it in my DAW, and thus I won't be able to do it. So please turn the downloads on, and then I will be able to get to it. Let me download the other one. If Discord wants to, come on Discord, you can do it. It's so weird that when I'm streaming, Discord downloads go super slow. Like it's not the download itself. The download itself goes really fast, but to actually start downloading, I click the download button and then it takes like 6 seconds before it actually starts downloading. When I'm not streaming, I click that download button and it instantly downloads. Really weird. This one. Asnadel, where's your track? No, you're still up. We're now getting into this one, Never Meant Rough. Don't know who that. Oh no, wait, we also still need to do this one. So we have 2 tracks before yours, and then you are. Give me a second. Okay, cool. I still have the SoundCloud page open, so just let me know when you turn the downloads on, and then I'll grab it. Let's move to the next track. DJ. What is that? Ziggy? Lend, rhyme, and applause. Okay. Well, let's see what we have here. That's some pretty good tunes today so far, so.
Always treat the other side with grace. Hear their reasoning, don't turn away.
Where the vocals from? It's not like vocals from a popular tune, is it though? I hope. Mine is the Into the Abyss one. It's a bit long. The midsection can be skipped. We'll get to it. It's fine. Synthetic. Oh, you did it AI or you used vocal synthesis or something. AI vocals? Depends on the AI, honestly. Like I'm not a big fan of AI vocals. But there are places that do it right, and then I would be able to say like, okay, sure, cool. Vocal synthesis though is really interesting. I really like that kind of stuff. OpenAI, okay. That takes away a couple of points. Because OpenAI is not really the ethical one, you know. That's the one I would not normally appreciate, but it's fine. It's fine for your submission. Just my couple of points, you know. 11 Labs. I'm not entirely sure how 11 Labs train their data or train their models. Like when I say like there's ethical AI options for vocals, there are AI companies that are working together with vocalists and actually licensing their voice and training it on their voice with their permission, and they even pay them when their models get used, and that is, in my opinion, the ethical way of doing AI vocal generating things. Companies that just, like scrape the internet for music or vocals and just train on it without permission and then release that as a commercial product, that is not, So I have a bit of an issue with a lot of these AI companies because of the way of how they train their data. I think there's a right way to do AI stuff, but a lot of the companies are not doing it the right way, and they're just, like, the main issue is with a lot of these companies is that they train on data that they don't necessarily have permission for, which is an issue to begin with. But then the biggest problem is that they then turn it into a commercial product. That is the biggest issue, right? Like, I would be fine with AI stuff, and I think AI, it definitely has its place. I'm not anti-AI, for instance. I am anti the way of how a lot of these companies operate and make their AI models. Like what, like, a lot of places like Suno did and stuff like that. Like, that's just, it's just blatant theft, especially because it's turned into a commercial product. And OpenAI is similar in that regard. It's just not the right way of doing it, in my opinion. Due to a lack of a singer, you have to go. Yeah, exactly. And I don't mind AI for that reason. Like, I think when done the right way and when trained ethically on with like permission of the people that it's trained on, by even, especially when you turn it into a commercial product, I think you should pay the vocalist that you train your models on. If you are turning something into a commercial product, then you have the means to pay those people. Sure, it's going to mean that you're going to make less revenue yourself as a company, but it is the right way to do it, What was it? The company that Ben Jordan was involved with, Voice Swap, is one of them. They actually work together with vocalists. They hire vocalists to train models on their voice, and then they pay them for the use of their models. And that is the way to do it, That way, you're not just training a model on somebody's voice and then turning it into a commercial product without them being involved whatever way. You're actually helping the vocalist to earn more money and to, actually make a living with their voice. And that is the right way to do it, And yeah, like I said, it is going to lead to less income and profit for your company as an AI company, but it is the long-term right way to do this kind of stuff. Like, AI is not going to go anywhere. It's here. It's only going to get better. But yeah, there is definitely a big issue with like a lot of these AI generating companies, of how they train their data. A lot of them are all about maximizing profit, and it's clear about how they make their models, and especially for a long time refuse to even acknowledge what they trained on. Some of them still don't. And then when they do finally acknowledge, like for instance, what was it, Suno? They do finally acknowledge, like, okay, yes, we trained on copyrighted works, we scraped the entire internet. Then still, it's like, but hey, then they're going to sort of like make excuses as to why that is right. Like the whole CEO of Suno, he is notorious for doing this. He starts making excuses about like, oh, like it's the same way as how a human would learn. You know, it's just mimicking what humans do. And no, it's not. You know, it's on such a vast scale. It's completely different. But he will keep making excuses, you know, and keep making sort of like justifications as to why it's fine. But when you think about it, it's really not, you know? So, like, for that reason, a lot of these AI companies I don't like. Although there are good ways to do it. But that aside, you know, we're a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, it's sadly the state that we're in. And I wish that would improve, you know? I'm actually still amazed that it has taken this long, and we still don't have proper legislation for this technology. Like, it's probably still gonna take a long. It also has to do with the U.S. just being like, oh, we're not even gonna legislate anything for the next, what was it, 10 years or something that the current administration said, which is just a big fucking mistake in my opinion. But yeah. Let me also check what the chat is saying, by the way. For me, this is fun, not a commercial approach. Yeah, I get that. That's fine. I was more talking about the AI companies itself, you know, because they are all clearly making a commercial product. And when I make a commercial product, I also cannot just take something that is owned by somebody else and use that to turn into a commercial product of my own without their permission, you know, or without buying a proper license. That's just the way how it works. And sure, a lot of these copyright and like laws that already exist to cover this kind of stuff don't really apply to AI companies because it's such a new sort of like technology and it's not really embedded in the already existing legislation. So they kind of can slip under the radar and so like are in this sort of like legal gray area. But that is something I do have an issue with, you know? But if it's like, yeah, there are good ways to do it. There are definitely good ways to do it, and I do hope that the whole industry is going to move towards that. Because, like I said, AI stuff, there's definitely use cases for it that are going to help people to make tracks that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. Like, not everyone has access to vocalists, so I do get it. And I think, for instance, like what the company that I named earlier, Voice Swap, they do sort of like give people the chance to create their vocals with AI, but do so on vocalists' voice that were trained with their permission, you know, and actually they're getting paid. And that to me is an okay use. Like I'm fine with that. Still, always would be better to have an actual vocalist on the track, in my opinion. But yeah, not everyone has that capability. You know, not everyone has access to that. So. Towa no Yugure? I have never heard of that. Let me put that in a new tab. Oh, we still have this one open. What is that? I've never seen that, but I'll leave it open. Guess AI music in general rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, but I also that also has a lot to do, for me at least, with how these companies started and what they did, you know. I don't Well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of AI either. Like, I'm not a big fan, but I'm also not completely against it. It's kind of a tough thing to talk about, honestly, because there are definitely use cases for it. Um, I just don't think the current state of the whole AI industry is the way to go. Anyways, let's actually listen to the tune.
Always treat the other side with grace. Hear their reasoning, don't turn away. God and nurture, I share space. Learn to communicate each day. Knowledge gives you strength and might. Keep your mind sharp day and night. Make the choice to cut the noise. Spend your time on worthy joy. Ooh. When a hard problem comes your way, don't think deep analysis, my friend. Choose to be curious, don't shy away. You will conquer every crisis in the end. Knowledge gives you strength and might. Keep your mind sharp day and night. Make the choice to cut the noise. Spend your time on worthy choice. Choose to be curious, don't shy away. You will conquer every crisis in the end, in the end. Choose to be curious, don't shy away. You will conquer every crisis in the end, in the end. Knowledge gives you strength and might. Keep your mind sharp day and night. Make the choice to cut the noise. Spend your time on worthy joys.
Yeah, I'm a bit too much pop influence for my taste, honestly. Oh wait, let me also grab tune. Here we go. One. Yeah, a bit too much pop influence for me. Best track so far? I don't think so actually. The drums could be a lot more polished for what they are.
When a hard problem comes your way, don't think deep analysis, my friend. Choose to be curious, don't shy away. You will conquer every crisis in the end. Knowledge gives you
hard to describe. I'm not entirely sure how to describe what the drums sound like, but they could be a lot more polished in terms like when you listen to drum and bass because it is kind of drum and bass, right? It's kind of like pop influenced drum and bass, I guess. But the drums don't have the production quality that I would expect from modern day drum and bass. The flow of the song is cool though. I have to agree. The flow of the song and the arrangement wise, it's all done pretty good. Not really my cup of tea because of it just being more like a pop song. It's not really a drum and bass song. It's more like a pop song with drum and bass influence, as opposed to the other way around, which is not really my thing, honestly. Yeah, it's not just that the drums are dry, it's just, I don't know, like they lack that polish that drum and bass has these days, in my opinion. It's just the sounds itself as well. It's not like just that they're really dry, it's just also the sound itself, in my opinion, could be, well, like especially with drum and bass, the production quality is so high these days, that it's pretty easy to, have this happen where your drums don't sound like that at all. And that to me, like, I don't know, like it's something that I also kind of came to expect from the genre. The heads sound a little bit MP3 artifactish to me. Well, that's the thing, like I also... Like, I know that he said before that he made the track in FL Studio, but the track does have a little bit of that same kind of sound that you get from AI-generated music. Not saying that it is, but it does have that sort of like, that sound quality to it. Which makes me a little suspicious, but... I mean, it's you can't help that these days, That's another downside of AI, that you start doubting things. But yeah, it has a bit of that same sort of like stuff to it.
Choose to be curious, don't shy away. You will conquer every crisis in the end.
Yeah, again, like that doesn't mean that it is AI generated, the track. But a lot of the AI generated music does have that sort of like AI, what is it? Like just the polish of a lot of it just doesn't sound where it is or where it should be, and it's getting better, of course. It's getting harder and harder to even point it out. And like I said, the whole fact that AI exists kind of makes it so that you might start doubting something that is just a little bit less polished as being AI generated, and it's become such a fucking mess, and I honestly kind of hate it, but the AI lack of quality. Yeah, maybe that's the right way to describe it. But yeah, I don't know. It does have that kind of sound to it, and for me, it's just really not my cup of tea because of how pop influenced it is. It's more like a pop track than a drum and bass track, which is fine, Like, there's probably people into that stuff, but for me, it's not really a thing. Back, can I hear what AI has to say? What? You want to hear this track? I mean, we'll just play a little bit of it again. Vocal is AI though. We know that. We already went over that. So vocal is AI. We know that. But the track itself also has that sound to it, for me at least. And I'm not sure if that is because of a lack in production quality or because it is AI generated. He said he made the track in FL Studio though, so I gotta give him a little benefit of the doubt, but still.
Always treat the other side with grace. Hear their reasoning, don't turn away.
Hi-hats definitely sound
God and nurture, I share space.
like it could be though.
Learn to communicate each day. Knowledge gives you strength and might. Keep your mind sharp day and night. Make the choice to cut the noise. Spend your time on worthy joy.
Yeah, well, that's the tough thing, Angelite. That's the tough thing. Like, if the hi-hats are, if it's a hi-hat loop that has been warped from a different tempo with like Ableton's complex warp mode or something similar to that, it gets that same sound. So that's the tough thing about it, you know. That's why it's so tough now to say it for sure if it is or not. The clap really also makes me think it though.
When a hard problem comes your way, don't fit it analysis, my friend.
I don't know, there's just something about it.
Curious, don't shy away.
Yeah, that was something that I noticed as well, Angelite. That's something that I was looking at as well. Like, some of the drum sounds, like, they're not, like, the same hit every time. And that is something that becomes kind of apparent. Like, there is slight fluctuations between every little bit instance of the sound, which kind of makes it even more so... Well, makes me expect even more that it is AI generated. It definitely has that sort of like AI sounding sound to it.
When a hard problem comes
So
your way,
it's tough to say, but
don't fit it analysis, my friend.
I downloaded your track,
Choose to
yeah.
be curious, don't shy away. You will conquer
I just didn't put it in my DAW yet, but
knowledge gives you strength and might. Keep your mind sharp day and night. Make the choice to cut the noise. Spend your time on worthy
yeah, that's kind of a good way to describe it. Like, there's like a flangy effect happening on a lot of the sounds, which is something that AI often suffers from as well. So yeah, Yeah, again, like I also say the same thing. Like, if it's not, then I'm sorry, but it does have that sound, you know? Diffusion, yeah, exactly. I mean, we do have sort of like the same oscillation happening on the kick here, as to the next one. So there is maybe a thing to say that it might just be a produced track that just lacks quality, or there just is stuff happening that degrades the quality because of warping or other things. Like, there are things that, you know, could happen that give it that same kind of sound, but it's tough to say. Like, it's becoming so tough to say nowadays. Like, that does look like it's the same kick, you know? See, that's what I meant. Like, it's tough. I think for what it is, like, overall the arrangement and stuff is fine. If it wants to be a pop track, that's fine. Just really not my cup of tea. Cool. It's it's because FL Studio is bad. Good one. I like that. I like that one. As an ex-FL Studio user, I like that one. Yeah, it's there's always like this comes up every once in a while. Fuck, wasn't it Busy Works Beats who also started yapping about this a while ago? Like, how one doll sounds better than the other. Like, fuck off, mate, it doesn't. Like, the audio engines are the same. They work the exact same way. You can make the same thing in any doll. If you use the same plugins and same effects. Like, there might be slight minute differences, but those are so small you're not going to hear any difference. But I remember he went on about this whole thing that Logic has like an analog shimmer to it, or some fucking bullshit, or what was it? Pro Tools has an analog shimmer and Logic has a warmth to it, and I was like, dude, shut the fuck up, mate. It's like such a stupid argument that is so easy to prove wrong. Yeah, like a lot of those comparisons where, because there are people that have actually tried to prove this, you know, and well, I would say all of them. It's just a matter of finding the inconsistencies in the testing, but I would say all of them just do something wrong in their tests, which leads to a difference. The placebo is hard on this one. Yeah, exactly. Busy has been on some weird shit again as well. He's been doing some AI stuff lately, I think. He's been promoting some AI companies, and there was a whole fucking ordeal. I haven't really seen it, but I saw that Weaver did a video on it, and I was like, oh, is Busy on something again? I mean, when isn't he, you know? Busy the pro yapper, you know? Whose track was this? Never Meant Rough. Whose track was that? Okay, my Dutch brain is gonna pronounce that as schoner music. Probably not pronounced that way, but that's my Dutch brain seeing the SCH being like schoner music. I've never used BandLab, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, in the end, dolls just you know, if you do the same thing in each doll and actually do the same thing, it's gonna end up sounding the same, and it will basically be nulling with itself. Not maybe completely, because of slight minute differences of how dolls handle certain things. But you'll be able to get really close to a null, basically to the point where the result or the leftover signal is so small that you're not going to hear that when you're comparing one track to the other. What was it again? I saw one a while ago where somebody compared two dolls, and what was it again? I forgot which dolls it was, but someone, it was like this person. I also forgot who it was, but it was this person who made a video comparing two dolls, and he was making an argument that there was a clear difference, and I'm like, okay, let me check. What are you doing? And the first thing he does is he throws on a reverb. Sure, he used the same reverb plugin in both dolls, but he put on a reverb, and I'm like, okay. So how did you set the reverb up? And he literally just kept the chorus modulation in the reverb. And I'm like, well, there you go. That's why you have a difference. You know, like the chorus modulation in the reverb, that sort of like does like the movement in the diffused tail is going to be different with every export, regardless of which DAW you did it in. If he would have taken that track and exported it 2 times from the same DAW and compared those to each other, he would have the same difference. But he was using that as an argument as to, see, there is a difference between these DAWs because I'm not getting a complete null. I'm like, dude, that's an error in your testing. Like any sort of like effect that does modulation like that, where it's a free running modulation, every time you bounce it, it's going to be slightly different. No, I don't think it was White Sea. He did a test as well, and he did an update video later, and he did come across a couple of things that some DAWs do slightly different. Mainly the thing, what was it with the, well, of course, also the thing with VST plugins and stuff, and versus audio unit plugins and stuff like that, and how some DAWs introduce less or more noise, and noise is, you know, as long as it's not a sample, is also random, so that will always lead to it not nulling completely. But yeah, those differences are so minuscule that it's not even going to be audible in a full track. So I'm going to use AI to turn Dan Worrell into an MC for my sets. I mean, it's always a laugh when I see Busy making another bad take, or any of the other people. Especially the hip hop producers. They are notorious for doing that, so it's always fun. Like, there's probably good hip hop producers on YouTube, by the way, but the whole hip hop scene, producing scene on YouTube, is notorious for having people that don't know a fucking clue about what they're talking about. Okay, this one definitely looks like it needs a volume boost. Did you say something about this track, by the way, on Discord? No, he didn't. Interesting piano. That piano part actually reminds me of something. Yeah, definitely unfinished, for sure. That's pretty clear. I don't know. I do like the piano, the sort of like the progression in that piano, but it also reminds me of something. I'm trying to figure out what. I do like it though. Yeah, the sort of like the chromatic part at the end here definitely has a bit of a hint to classical music, I guess. Which is nice. Now this one also lacks a bit of a polish, a bit for the, you know, lack of sort of like polishing here, especially this section where the drums come in. But it's also an unfinished track, so. I mean, I'm fine with somebody sampling something, as long as it's not like a famous tune or something and they're sampling the vocal or whatever, or they're remixing a famous tune, because that usually gets becomes a bit troublesome with copyright. But I do like the rising element here. I just think this needs a... Well, first of all, it needs to be more... well, it needs to be more fleshed out as an idea, as a tune. But it also kind of... Like, if this would be a drum bass track, I would probably change the intro section here so that the piano comes in earlier. And so, like, change the arrangement. Like, shorten this entire section and bring the piano in earlier and then go into the drum bass. I've got the longest vocal from a YouTube documentary in mind. Nah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I think this section is just too long. Here, this section just drags out too long. So if you want to turn this into a track, then definitely shorten that and bring this more up here somewhere. And yeah, turn it into a full track, because right now it's an idea. Let's keep it at that. It could be a tune. It could be a nice tune, but definitely needs more work. Okay, we have More tracks. I was kind of worried that we wouldn't have too many tracks today, because there were only 2 submissions or something when I started the stream, but things are actually going fine today. Oh, damn, this is an M4A file. I hope Ableton allows that. No, it doesn't. Whose track is that? Fuck, guys, you really need to come up with good names. Username Throat Hoagie. What the fuck is that? Dude, could you please upload an MP3 version, because M4A Ableton doesn't allow M4A files to be imported. What the fuck is a throat hoagie? Sometimes I get so amused by some usernames that people have. I saw one. Fuck, I forgot what it was. I saw one in Skate earlier this week. I was just catching some clips in Skate, and I saw this one dude he literally just came flying through my screen. It was one of those people that just launches himself from the top of a building and then just tries to do the most insane gaps or something, which is not really the way of how I play Skate. I like to play it in a more realistic way. But I see this one dude just flying past my screen, and he had one username as well. Dude, it cracked me up, but I forgot what it was. No, I can't remember it, but it was an hilarious username, and I just see this fucking username just flying through my screen. I'm like, what the fuck? And I had to literally go into the list of players in the server to find it, and I was like, fucking hell, mate, what? I just saw a glimpse of it coming through, and I was like, what was that? And it was like a really, really hilarious username, but I can't remember it, sadly. I saw one in what is MLBB? What is that? MLBB? Is that a game? I saw one in MLBB called Mr. Sister Fisting. Yeah, like stuff like that. No, it was something different, but it was a hilarious username, and I was like, fucking hell, mate, that's a good one. Mobile Legends Bang Bang? I have never heard of that. Yeah, your track is last at the moment anyway, so we can move on to the next one, which is Esnadel. He was here before. It might have been gone now by now, but I hope he's still here. Oh, he's still here. I see your username in the chat. I'm fucking stupid. Let's do it, bruv. Okay. I'm reading bruv with an English accent, by the way. When I see bruv, I'm like, okay. Gotta read that in a British accent. With a bottle of water? Okay. What fucking timing? We've got fucking bottle sounds and water dripping sounds and shit. I literally just said bottle of water. By the way, do we have a contender for the new best track for today? Like, so far, this sounds like it could be. Let's rewind that. That caught me by surprise, but it sounded really cool. We've only heard a tiny bit of it, but it immediately made me go like, wait, that's cool. Yeah, sounds really cool. It does indeed. It does remind me a bit of Mr. Bill's kind of production style. Yeah, it's the a lot of like different random sounds, you know, that does that. But it also does remind me a bit of Tipper as well. Yeah. Yeah, this one is really nice. Like the production as well. It all sounds really well produced, really clean. And I love the fucking weird sounds. It kind of fits the whole vibe of the tune, you know. But it's also kind of fun. Yeah, really nice one. This one, I absolutely enjoyed that a lot. Bruv up. Yeah. No, this one was really good. Like there isn't too much to say about it really. It's just a really good produced tune. And like might not be for everyone though. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like some people might be like, yeah, it sounds too goofy or whatever. But I think for this kind of music, it works, you know, and sounds nice. I like it. So good job. It's definitely not bro step. No. I would take this kind of music, glitch hop or whatever, because it's kind of like it's mostly so like I would label this more as like glitch hop kind of thing, kind of stuff. I would take that over bro step any day. I mean, Prozac, your tune was pretty good too. Not really the kind of drum and bass like that I would normally listen to, but for well, not that's something I probably shouldn't say. It's more like some of the sounds that you used are kind of like dance floor drum and bass kind of sounds, which dance floor drum and bass is a kind of drum and bass I would not listen to, but you did it pretty nicely and pretty original. You used them in an original way, so I didn't really mind your track at all. I think it was a good tune. Squish hop. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, glitch up or like this kind of music is also really fun. Not just to listen to, but also to make. It's kind of fun to do. Although I also have an absolute sweet spot for people who take it more in the approach of what Cohen Sound often does, which is another form of it, right? It's like they also have done tracks in glitch hop kind of style, but then their tracks have they lack the sort of like production that this has, and taken it in a completely different route, and I absolutely love that as well. But I can enjoy this for sure. I also think that overall through, like, this track feels really cohesive. Like, a lot of the intro elements feel like they actually have something to do with the drops, which was something that we talked about in the past, earlier on in the stream about some of the other tracks. This one actually has that, where the intro sounds really feel like they belong there, and they have something to do with the rest of the track. And that is a good thing. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, there's so many weird little sounds happening that, yeah, it's there's a lot of ear candy, and that's good. It's a pleasure to listen to. Yeah, really nice one. Ozzy, what do you mean? You're saying which Discord sub channel is being displayed on the left hand of the screen? Sorry, I'm old and a Discord noob. What are you talking about? You talking about the little thing where it shows my logo and then goes into the text that says please join the Discord? Is that what you're talking about? That's just a little advertisement for the Discord, you know, to remind people. Check the description of the stream and join the Discord using the link that's there. That's all that is. Yeah, this is a really, really nice tune. Well done. The live chat below my logo, that's literally the chat from YouTube. If you noticed, you can see your own messages in there. That's literally just a chat from YouTube, you know? I guess it's not really needed anymore these days, because back in the day, YouTube didn't have the live chat replay thing. These days you can just replay the live chat if you're watching like a stream VOD. Back in the day you couldn't do that, so that's why I always had the live chat on screen. I might actually have to change that, but I mean, it's fine. I don't mind it. Cool. Next track. Thermal. You're up. There is a bit of lag. Yeah, there is a bit of lag with that. But that's just the way it is. Can't really do much about that. Cool. Let's check this one out. I like that bass sound. Maybe a bit wide though, but
Open the airlock.
yeah, that was a good vibe. That was a nice little tune. What genre would we even call this? Honestly, not that it really matters, but I liked it. Yeah, that was one thing I was gonna say as well, Greedo. The sort of like the higher melody in this section here felt a little too loud, and it can get a little bit sort of like annoying to the ear when it's so loud. So maybe just back it down a couple of decibels. But other than that, not too much I would change to this. It's kind of alright the way it is. It's a nice tune. One thing though, that's sort of like that bass. Well, it's not really a bass, more like a synth. I think it's this one here that you can see here. Yeah, it's like a low synth. That one feels a little wide, maybe. I can see it on the meters here, where it actually, when that sound plays, it goes into the negative for the low frequencies, which could be a problem. Like not the entire time, but sometimes. So, but again, this is probably not a dance floor track, so, you know, it could also be fine. See, it still sounds like it's there in mono as well, so that's good. If it is supposed to be for a dance floor, you know? It does have a really old school vibe to it, but I like it. Yeah, like that high, so like lead kind of sound, that definitely wants to be a little quieter maybe. It's a little loud. I like the drum machine drums as well. It's kind of cool. It's something you don't really hear a lot of, or at least we don't hear a lot of on these streams. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air, you know, something different. But yeah, I don't have too much else to say about it. I think it's the way it is right now. I think it's a good tune. It just you know, little tweaks here and there to the mix maybe. But other than that, it works. Yeah. I'm gonna move to the next tracks as well, because I want to be able to do all of them today. I'm not sure if the Discord, we have more. Oh yeah, we have one more in the Discord. So let me grab that one. I want to get through all of them tonight. But we had a pretty good variety of stuff tonight, actually, so far. Like, we've had feedback streams where it's literally all drum and bass. But tonight is different. We've had some pretty good variety of music. There's like a bit of everything, which is really cool. Nice to hear. Still no techno though, but I'm kind of, I was expecting like somebody sending in a techno track today, because I was making some techno kind of ish stuff in the last stream. But who knows? Could still happen. Like, I'm open to any genre, by the way, so that's fine. I'm open to anything. I can't guarantee that I can give feedback on it. Some things are just not for me, but if I have some stuff to say about something, then I'll say it. This one's unfinished. It's also the longest track in the of the bunch. No, it's fine. How long is it actually? 6.5 minutes. Hey, I don't mind a long track, but it depends on the track. So it's easy to make a long track that is repetitive. It's not as easy to make a long track that keeps the listener interested. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Enjoy. I will. Thanks. Oh.
The global ocean covers 71% of the surface of our planet. Holding within as boundless as it is mysterious. Here, beneath the shimmering surface, lies a bustling oasis, teeming with life, where every creature plays a vital role in the intricate dance of survival. In the depths below, the ocean plays host to a far stranger realm, the deep sea. This place is a world within, a place of silence, emptiness, and darkness.
No, I'm fine with you sampling the piano thing. That's I don't have necessarily have an issue with it. Just referencing the chat right now. That's fine. It's all good. It's all good. So far, we're gonna get back to this, but so far, the mix needs work. There's the bass feels pretty high for like a drum and bass track. It's sitting at, well, roughly around here, which, according to Vision, says that that is either a D or a C sharp. In that case, you could drop the bass an octave. There's plenty of drum and bass these days that is in the key of D or even C sharp that has the bass an octave lower than this, and it would. You would need some upper harmonics to the bass, because it's definitely really fucking low, especially C sharp, but with the right amount of harmonics, it will work, and it will actually sound pretty fucking weighty and dark, so you can definitely do that. Right now it feels more like the bass is sitting in that range where it makes it more muddy than actually sounds like a nice bass, if that makes sense. It also sits in the same area as a lot of the sort of like lower parts of the drums, like the kick and a lot of these other things. And it just, for my taste at least, it feels a little bit too high for bass. The bass already also sounds off because I vocoded it. Sadly, it lost the clarity. I mean, depends on what you're doing, right? Like, if you, a lot of times with bass, it's fine to use stuff like vocoders on bass sounds. But a lot of times what you want to do is you want to have like a clean sort of like sub underneath it. So that's why a lot of people would, you know, split their mid frequencies of the bass, so like the lows and the mid frequencies up from the actual sub, and just have like a clean sub underneath it. That always works well. But yeah, I use vocoders a lot as well. Like I even use it when I'm making drums and stuff, so it's like it's fine. But it all depends on the context and depends on the sounds as well. You have a clean one, you vocoded it as well. Well, if it's vocoded, it's not clean.
Emptiness and darkness.
Also, the drums here lack high end, so like there's a good amount of high end in here, but then the drop feels more muffled because there is a lack of high end to the drop. It needs like more sparkle in the high frequencies on like with like some hats or cymbals or something like that, and therefore it feels very muffled right now.
Emptiness and darkness.
Like right here, that's what it needs more of. But yeah, this bass can be sitting right around here. instead of here. Can be right there. Yeah, but also be careful with adding high end. You don't want to add too much, you know? You can do a little boost here.
The deep ocean is beautiful. Its scale defies understanding. More than 95% of planet Earth's waters exist in near perfect darkness. Below the glimmering skin of the waves, in a place where no light can reach.
I actually think I might have seen that same documentary at some point.
This hidden place is Earth's largest habitat. Let's try something. Close
Sounds familiar.
your eyes. Picture in your mind every city you have ever walked, every great forest you have ever visited. Think how endless they seemed as you wandered through. Think of every mountain path you might have climbed, and the view of all
Okay.
the valleys.
You say we can skip this
Think
part?
of your home country.
I mean,
The scale of it,
or
the
just
time
listen
it
to it,
takes
why
to
not?
commute, let alone cross it. All of these places together would not fill a corner of this abyss. If we turned Mount Everest,
It's a bit long though, yeah, this
its
section.
summit would still fall short of the ocean's deepest trench by 2 kilometers. But it is not empty space down here.
What I would do
In the fathom
in this section, I would definitely make it shorter. But what I would do is I would just find like bits of the vocal that you really like and then cut away everything else. And then just use those little bits, make the whole thing shorter, and then just, you know, use just the good parts of the vocal. Because right now it's just such a long section, and it halfway through I kind of stopped caring about what the vocal is even saying, you know? So I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. Oh, let's move to somewhere out here.
among all the strange and shifting rocks that fill its floor, there is life to be found. In every corner, there is life.
Now that snare though, let's talk about the snare. The snare is something. I would try and improve that. The snare feels like a fart. It sounds like a fart, actually. Like one of those really short trumpety farts, you know? It's just too saturated, and you know, doesn't really work. Like the thing with drum and bass is, a lot of the snares are really tight and snappy, have a lot of punch to them, but this one just sounds like it's, well, first of all, the track obviously sounds quite muddy, but then the snare as well has this really like saturated low mids, and it just ends up sounding like a fart, you know? I mean, we do talk about snares a lot on here, but yeah, this one ain't it, mate. This one ain't it. some of those high screechy parts might be because I'm boosting it here, but those were pretty loud. Okay, it was also because I was boosting it that made them even louder, but they're still kind of loud. And especially those kind of sounds, like really screechy, really like resonant sounds that are high, you want to be really careful with because they become really piercing to the ears and can be really annoying if they're too loud. So it's most of the time I would say better to have those a little too quiet than too loud. Those kind of sounds I would just make sure that they're not too loud. Like right here, for instance, it just jumps out the mix. It just... Right? And it also kind of feels like maybe those sounds are a little too saturated. Like the whole mix kind of does, to be honest. Like screechy sounds can be really annoying if they're not mixed right. And that is something you always want to be careful with. Oh, we got the snare by itself. Yeah, you can even see it. Like, look at... This is an example of what snare should not look like. In my opinion. First of all, the fact that it's squared like that just means that it's just saturated to absolute shit. Which isn't what you want. Plus, this sort of like low frequency feels pretty long for a snare. You cannot even see the noise still. Which you usually see in a drum and bass snare. So yeah, that's just a couple of things that I can already see just from it. But I mean, you can hear it as well. It's like... Right now, in here, it doesn't even sound too much like a fart. It still does, but not as much as in the drop, because it's layered with other sounds, and it only makes it worse. But yeah, it's not. This snare ain't it. There are definitely cool elements in the track, though. Yeah, for sure. It just needs a better mix for sure, and a lot of the sounds need to, like, the bass first of all needs to be lower. That's one thing. But also it feels like right now there's a lot of elements fighting for space. And it isn't even just that there are that many elements, but a lot of these elements are sitting in a very similar frequency range. Like, even the snare ain't that high pitched, and the kick is actually pretty high, from what I think. Or, oh no, wait, that's the snare. I thought that was a kick, but that's actually the snare. I mean, the kick is also... Yeah, okay, the kick is there. It's not as high pitched as I thought, but that's fine. It's just that the bass is really high pitched for like a bass. It's like just below 100 hertz, and most of the time, especially in drum and bass, depending on the key, of course, but the bass will sit more closer to like 40, 50, 60 hertz than it will to 100 hertz. And because this area is also occupied by other things, like the kick, first of all, like part of the kick is in that frequency range, but the snare is also pretty close. Like, the snare is what, sitting at like, what is that, 160 or something like that. So it's actually pretty close to where the bass is. So there's all these elements crammed into this very narrow frequency range, which makes it feel pretty, well, it feels really full in that area, and elements are just fighting for space there. And if you sort of like separate that more, then that should already improve things a lot. Also think arrangement-wise, you can definitely improve some stuff. I think some of these sections kind of feel like they either come out of nowhere or they drag out too long. I think arrangement-wise, it might want a more fleshed out, well, maybe a more like, well, I think there's a lot of things in here that could be used for a tune, but right now it just all feels like there's a lot of stuff just thrown together, and it doesn't feel like the arrangement has any real like flow to it. So yeah, that's something I would try and improve as well.
Dwell down here may seem to you and I to play by strange and unfamiliar rules, and take on curious, perhaps otherworldly forms. But truthfully, it is a matter of perspective.
Did the first drop sound better arrangement-wise? I mean, I think the whole thing has a certain kind of issue right now with, well, the arrangement. I mean, the first part of this drop definitely sounds like it has more of a, how do we say that? More of like an idea to it that kind of makes sense. Would need to be a bit more polished, but it definitely, like that first part of the drop definitely has like a, maybe like how to describe that? Maybe like the pattern kind of feels like it could be something good, you know? Later on in the track, it all becomes more like, well, this feels a bit more random. And it doesn't necessarily make all that much sense.
Emptiness and darkness.
Like you could even, first of all, the bass lower, but then some of these parts where the bass just keeps sustaining, you could even take the bass and just cut it up a little bit to make a couple of like rhythmic edits, most likely at the end of a section, and then go back into the main bass groove, just to keep it interesting. But I mean, there's good stuff in here, so yeah, would actually be interested in hearing an improved version someday. Cool, we've said quite a bit about that one. So let's move on to the next one. GRD, Breakthrough. Let's check this one out. 3 more tracks. Yeah, exactly. It needs more. It needs to be more groovy. Exactly, that's a good word. And that's also what I said with the cutting stuff up and having like some rhythmic parts in there. That will add to that sort of like groove. So yeah, definitely something that you could work with. Intentional, that's a good way to put it. That's something that it lacks. It doesn't sound like a lot of the stuff sounds intentional, which, like, it needs a certain sort of like idea and then I guess build that idea out, but right now it kind of feels like a lot of different things together. Oh, I get that. I get the idea of it being like a beast or a monster. I get that because it definitely has sounds that yeah, sound like that. Cool. Next one.
I'm rising up out of the darkness I've been holding on to. There's a new day coming. If I just let go, what will come? Will I feel something new when the sun is breaking through?
Weird clap.
I'm rising up out of the darkness I've been holding on to. There's a new day coming. If I just let go, what will come? Will I feel something new?
Yeah, again, way too piercing high end. But it also feels like a lot of this track, like the track feels really, like there's good parts in this track for sure, but it feels really distorted, but at the same time it doesn't, which is strange. Like the drop does not sound like it has that much distortion, but then a lot of sounds do sound really fucking distorted. It's almost, I don't know, it's weird. The clap is kind of strange, honestly. It's like a burst of noise, basically. I do like a lot of the elements though, like some of the synth stuff and like stuff like that I do really like. But there are some parts of it that just, the mix feels kind of odd. The drums definitely lack presence, or, well, presence is maybe not the right word. Punch is maybe a better word. The drums sort of like get buried in the mix a lot when the drop hits. But also like, especially the high end feels really distorted in this track. Which usually is the case when you distort a lot of things in the track, then the high end becomes distorted, but I don't hear that same distortion on a lot of the other elements, you know, on like the synths and stuff like that. So it almost feels like you've distorted just the high end really heavily or something. Which kind of maybe the best way to describe what I'm hearing.
I'm rising up out of the
Oh yeah,
darkness.
I forgot to say, the vocal I don't like. I'm sorry. What could I do better? I mean, I would start with like taking the processing down a lot on a lot of things, and just, you know, work from there, because right now it feels like there's in the drop as well, there's a lot of, let's see. It's almost like there's this wash of noise just continuing through the entire time, which could be a result of very heavy processing. It's hard to say without seeing the project, but I guess we could hear it if we use one of these things here. Yeah. See how it's just that sort of like noise just sitting there the entire way through. Kind of yeah, like I said, it's difficult to say why that is. Could be a result of just very heavy processing. But it kind of needs to be cleaned up a lot. Like I would definitely at this point take some references, you know, take some reference tracks of like stuff that is similar. Like I know that some tracks by Mephius, Camo Crooked, have a similar vibe to this. So I would probably grab a couple of their tracks and just put those in your DAW. Make sure that they bypass any of the master processing, of course, and then start comparing between your track and theirs, and you'll pretty quickly see or hear where the differences are. And a lot of those tracks from them, they're still loud and can still be pretty heavy in a way, but a lot of the sounds are pretty clean in like their productions, and that is something that you probably want to work on with this. The chords and the synths are nice though, like for sure. Vocal, not really my cup of tea, but that's okay. It's tough to find good vocals, so I get it. Yeah, we're gonna get to this section. We just didn't get to there yet. Yeah, see? It's really cool, and I guess the best way to describe the high end is the high end feels really overcrowded. That's probably the best way to describe it. There's like so much noise happening in this area that it just becomes, well, almost unbearing to listen to. Which is a shame, because a lot of the elements in the track are really nice. It doesn't need all of that noise in the high end. There can be some, but you really want to keep it quite clean when it comes to that frequency range. Like with a lot of the Mephius and I guess Camo Crooked as well, they will use noise on their basses and synths and stuff like that, but it's often really subtle and really, well, of course the production quality of their tracks is insanely high, but they will be really specific with where they put noise, just to give it that little bit of sparkle and edge that the track needs. But right now it feels like in your track there's just a lot of it, way too much, and that, in my opinion, is what this track really suffers from at the moment. And the drums need to come through more. The drums are just buried in the mix a bit, especially in the drop. It's just they need to come through more. The clap, yeah, clap. I think I would change, because it's basically just a burst of noise, but also it becomes hard to hear because there is so much more noise already in that same frequency range. But if it's the same clap as in the intro, then yeah, that's just a burst of noise. So I would probably swap that out for something a little bit more like a clap, lay it with a snare maybe. Like I often like those kind of drums, where it's just like a clap and snare, lay it to give that sound. I don't know if I have one, but like that. Where it's, see, we clearly have like the transient of a snare, but then the high end is sort of like a clap that does have a bit of noise in it, but that to me sounds heaps better than just having a burst of noise as a clap.
rising up out of the darkness I've been holding on to.
By the way, vocal is spliced probably, right? I do like the pitch bend bass. That one is kind of nice. And the synths and the synths are good too. No, I think if you tame down the noise, and I'm sorry, we'll get to the other drop, but if you tame down the noise overall in this entire thing, then you can actually get away with adding noise to the bass / synth. And what I would do is I would apply. Well, you know what happens when you take noise and a sub bass and you distort it together, right? You get this sort of like fluttery kind of high end, especially when you do it with like a sub bass that is pretty low. You get like this fluttery high end on the noise applied to it because of the distortion. That is an effect I would like to hear on the main bass / synth combination, which will give it a bit of edge. But if the rest of the noise in the track is then tamed down a lot, it would actually make it sound so much cleaner. And you can do that in different ways than using distortion, because you don't necessarily need distortion to create an effect. What you could do is have some noise and use the sub as an input to a ring mod on the noise, and it will apply that same sort of like movement to the noise without actually distorting everything. And it will keep it really clean, but still give it edge with some noise. And you'll probably notice that with that, you'll already have plenty of noise in the track, and you don't need to have all that other noise happening on top. And it's actually a technique that you hear a lot in like drum and bass, especially this kind of drum and bass.
Out of the darkness I've been holding on to. There's a new day coming. If I just let go, what will come? Will I feel something new inside to think it through?
Okay, let's see. I'm not sure the health time really works too well. Probably would be better to just keep the drum and bass.
If I just let go, what will come? Will I feel something new inside to think it through?
Yeah, I don't. Health time part is not my cup of tea for this. I think I would just leave the drums drum and bass tempo. I think that would work better. Honestly. The kick is totally overshadowed by everything else. Yeah, we already talked about that. The drums are fighting for space in the mix. And yeah, they need to be more upfront. Which, you know, it's right now this track really needs a much better mix down. That's the main thing. Like it needs to be tamed down a lot in the high end. It needs to I would first of all start by just taking a lot of the processing down and making things a lot cleaner, and then you can work from there. You know, that's the main thing right now, because if you make things a lot cleaner, tame down the noise, stuff like that, you already have more space for the drums to come through. And it's hard to say if the drums really need more like sidechaining, or if there's like more sidechaining that is needed to make the drums come through. Because right now everything is very full and cluttered, which for this kind of drum and bass is not what you want. You want to keep things clean, but still give it some edge, but be really precise with that. And right now that it isn't, you know. But it's not. It's a good tune though. Like the idea is good, so it just needs a much better mix for this. Still though, if you do end up improving, the mix, feel free to send it again, because I would love to hear this one again and see what you do with it. Cool. It might be easiest to do the mix from scratch, step by step. Yeah, true. And then especially bring in some reference tracks. Like, bring in some reference tracks and then build the mix up from scratch again. Exactly, that would be good. Yeah, exactly, Greedo. The track itself I do like as well. It's just that right now it isn't where it should be, or where it could be. Is probably a better way to say it. Should be is a bit, you know. It could be better. But that's what these streams are for, you know? That's why we're here. Let's have a listen to this one. What do we pronounce that? Carpo? What is an O with two dots on top of it? An O with an umlaut. What is that? I don't know how to pronounce that. ID final perhaps. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Prozac, I have the same thing. Vocal, I'm not a big fan of. I think the vocal isn't that great, honestly. Yeah, how do we pronounce an O with an umlaut? We don't have that in Dutch. Oh. Let's listen though. Let's have a listen. Nice piano to start off with. Just say oh, okay. Oh wait, my bad. Let's... some of the sounds in here. I like the Foley on top is really cool. vibe is nice as well. Like, I really enjoy this. Bit more garagey kind of drums. Not really garage, but kind of reminded me a little of that. That one was nice. That was really good. I actually really enjoyed that one. I'm trying to think of what I would change to this, but I can't really think of much. So I would say good job to that. I really I really like this. Some nice little elements in the intro. The piano is really nice. And I love the sound design in this. No, I think it's fine. Also, the flow of the whole thing feels pretty good, like arrangement-wise. Maybe these parts could be a tiny bit louder, but I don't mind it, actually, that it is this dynamic. Could maybe be a little louder in these areas, but... It's also kind of okay the way it is now, so... Maybe a tiny bit too bright, but... It's very little though. I Like, that might sound a little better with just a tiny cut here, but... it's really close to where it should be. Like, especially when we're comparing it to, well, I don't want to hate, but the previous track, of course, first of all, but also the other track earlier on in the stream that was really high-end heavy. And then there was a track where we had those really loud resonant sounds. Like, this one has, like, screechy kind of sounds in it as well, but they are at a much better level as the one that we talked about previously. So... that's what I meant with the previous one. Like, it's those kind of sounds can be really ear-piercing and annoying to listen to if they are too loud. But when they are in the right volume, they are an absolute pleasure to listen to, you know? And this is much better in terms of that, so, like, mixing. The mixing on this is much better than those tracks that we heard where we talked about that. No hate to those people, of course, obviously, but like, it's just... as a reference. I enjoyed this one a lot, man. I enjoyed this one a lot. I guess we have a winner. I mean, there's been a couple of great tunes today. Really. We've had multiple ones today that are really nice. Yours included, by the way. Oh, nice. We've got a mono track. Somebody, he converted it to MP3 because it was an M4A file. And I guess it ended up mono? Let me check real quick for you. Is the original file mono? It is. Okay. So it's not that something in the conversion happened. The Bruv Hop track. I mean, honestly, yeah, that one was really nice. That one was actually really, really, really nice. That one I had just nothing. No sort of like negative things to say about at all. So that might be a good contender for the best one of tonight, but there were some other really good ones, so let's see what this last one is. It's mono, so keep that in mind, but we'll see what this one is. And that's gonna be the last one of tonight, because it's 1:22 a.m. and my ears are getting tired. Plus, I need to fire up Skate soon. I'm working on some stuff in that with some other people. We're making a full-length video edit, a full-length video with like parts of all the different people that are, you know, taking part. And I think he wants to release it by Valentine's Day, and I still need to start on my part. I only recorded a couple of clips, so I got some work to do. But, yeah. Let's see. What do we have for the last track? Old school vibe. Immediately getting old school video game music vibe and a bit of like atmospheric jungle vibe. Yeah, the glitches are cool. I agree. Yeah, I also imagined jungle breaks to come in, but it's different. We don't get jungle. It definitely had that sound. Vibe is nice, yeah, I agree. Vibe's cool. It's a bit of a shame that it's mono, but... The glitches are really good, yeah. I agree with that. I actually enjoy those a lot. And it just stops there. Yeah, it just stops there. Okay. maybe something went a little bit wrong with the export there, but I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit for it being completely mono. Yeah, I wish it had stereo width, but other than that, I do kind of enjoyed it. Although I do think this would be really cool with some jungle breaks. Because it really has that sound in the intro. I was like, yeah, let's get some jungle to end the stream with. Imagine if 2 channels, yeah, exactly. No, I do think there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I genuinely do. I think there's some cool stuff in here. The vibe is really cool though. Like I'm gonna say, like the vibe overall feels pretty nice. You do have a jungle version. Okay. Well, count me interested. Most mono-compatible track of the night. Yeah. Well, that's for sure. I don't have to check if there's any face cancellation happening. That's for sure. No, I do think this sounds pretty cool, but I'm kind of curious to hear the jungle version then. So yeah, for sure. I do these feedback streams every first Friday of the month, so definitely send it in if you remember it. I would like to hear it. So thanks all for tonight. I really enjoyed this stream. We had some really cool tunes. And such a wide variety as well, which yeah, that was awesome. Like, I love that this wasn't all just drum and bass. Not that I hate that, because, you know, we've had streams where we've had just drum and bass and there were fire tunes as well, but this was pretty fun, with a good sort of like selection of different genres, and yeah, that's always nice. I'll be signing off though, because it's 1:30 a.m. and I need to take a break. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be in the Discord, so if there's anything more you want to ask or talk about, then just come to the Discord. I'll be back again next week with more production, probably. If everything goes well, of course, like you know it. If I get another pounding headache, then maybe not. But like a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, normally I'll be back again on Friday next week. So come join. I will pick a track to play now for the outro of the stream, which usually is my favorite of the evening. So let's see. Well, I'm gonna go with. I know which one I'm gonna go with. For sure. I know which one we're gonna go with for the outro. Esnadel, I'm not sure if you're still here, but we'll enjoy your track one more time. Thanks all, and see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Yeah.